4:30. Time now to talk fish. Joby's here. How you doing, Joby?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, we missed you Friday night at the football game.
Yeah, I did miss that. I didn't miss losing part of it, but I did watch after we had our banquet for the Pecos Valley Bassmasters. We had a kind of an end-of-season banquet there in Breckenridge, Texas, and so the first part of the game I missed, but I got back in time to see the second half, see the halftime stuff, and then second half. So it was kind of a nail biter.
It was.
But anyway, thanks for missing me.
Well, what was funny is one of the comments was there's a listener who apparently doesn't care for your phrase left to right on the radio dial.
Okay.
Because you'll set up.
I'd say that.
You'll set it up for the folks that are listening on the radio. You'll kind of set the scene.
Right.
And once we determine which direction we're going based on the coin flip and all that kind of stuff, and you'll say, well, the Bulldogs are moving from left to right or right to left on your radio dial.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere in the past.
Yeah, and somebody said, tell Joby to stop using that phrase. It's stupid or something like that.
Right. And it was Robbie that had said it?
Well, he didn't say it exactly the way you did, but he did do something similar to that. And I emailed the guy back. I said, look, I like it. I mean, I'm an old radio guy.
Yeah.
And I grew up listening to the little transistor radio, not the little cell phone watching.
Right.
I was listening, and I always enjoyed it when the guy...
Well, because you can visualize it. If you're looking at your radio and you're going to the right, you're moving that way.
Yep.
If you're sitting in the stadium.
Sure. Of course, I was reminded that most radios don't have dials anymore.
True.
But so what? And
I know.
So it's funny. The guy felt motivated to write the email.
Right.
And I replied back, thanks for the comment, but I kind of like it. And his reply back to me, to each his own.
Right.
To which I thought, well, then why did you write the email in the first place?
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I know, as you do too, that no matter what you're doing, if you're in the public eye in any way, shape, or form, you're going to have a healthy dose of people saying, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that?
Of course.
So,
and look, I don't...
No big deal.
Yeah, we can handle that. That's,
But it is kind of funny, though.
Yeah.
Well,
to each his own.
Right.
Of all the things going on in the world, that seems
about
to be of importance right now.
Right.
Well, let's get in. So you had your banquet. I guess the season is done.
Season is done. We were having our championship, our 2021 championship there at Hubbard Creek in Breckenridge, Texas. And so I decided, we had never done this before since I've been involved in the club, but I decided to have our awards banquet that night before we started our tournament. That meant that that only those that were at the tournament could attend. So I kind of weighed that. I thought about it, but I decided to do it for a number of reasons. And now I'm thinking I wanted to be able to get those awards handed out and not have to. Last year we did it where we didn't have a banquet, and the guys that won them came out to my shop. I took their picture, put it on Facebook and stuff like that. But I wanted to do something a little more formal again. The last 3 years prior to last year, we actually had kind of a Christmas year-end banquet. We did it in December or maybe the last week in November, but we kind of had a banquet where I could invite all the club members, and then we handed out the Angler of the Year and the Co-Angler of the Year and the Big Bass and did some other stuff too, had a dinner and stuff like that. And so I'm leaning towards doing that, having a Christmas banquet where I can invite the whole club. I mean, whether or not they can come or do come would be on them, but having a dinner and then having a meeting talking about 2022, and because we've got to have that at some point anyway. And somebody mentioned, I think it was actually my dad, but said, well, it was really nice. We used to have, we had a couple of years in a row where we had a Christmas banquet, and it was pretty neat, and it was, and we had good attendance, and so at those, and so maybe I do that as the president, have set up a place and a time and get it catered, and but we're a nonprofit and we don't make any money. I mean, we actually hold out of each tournament some of the fee to enter to go towards year-end stuff, and it's all spent. So if we do a year-end or Christmas type banquet, everybody may have to kick in a little bit. But anyway, that was end of our season, and our championship went well. It was beautiful weather over in Texas. The fish bite was pretty slow, unfortunately. I was hoping that maybe it was, but a cold front. It just seems like it never fails. I mean, the cold front will help in shutting down fish, and it wasn't like it was cold, but it was a cold front. It came through Artesia too over the weekend, and I think that was part of it. I had been watching a buddy of mine that actually from Artesia that lives in Amarillo now. Him and his son fished in a tournament at Possum Kingdom, which is just down the road east of Breckenridge last weekend, and it was a really successful. A lot of fish, a lot of quality, a lot of fish caught, a lot of quality big fish, and so I was hoping maybe that would translate into the next weekend. But I think the cold front that came through last week chilled things off, and maybe that's part of what happened. I don't know. We didn't have a lot of quantity of fish. Quality wasn't too bad. We've got a lot of pictures. If your Facebook's working today, we can pull that up and look at it and share it with the audience that's watching.
Let's
here.
just find it here, because I had the picture of me and the barking guy fighting over
I saw that
a muffin
this morning.
And not just any muffin, but
it was a certain kind.
Double chocolate from Kith and Kin.
Oh. Yeah, I don't see the box in here, so y'all must have. Normally there's a box here from Kith and Kin, and it's over there now.
I think they've wandered out there. So, okay, so I'm going to go to Pecos Valley Bassmasters on the Facebooks there. Come on, laptop.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago when you went there and you were like, Facebook is down? You know, it was down. I guess you've probably talked about it. I'm sure drove people crazy worldwide. They couldn't get on their Facebook page.
Yeah, it didn't bother
for like 6 hours, right?
It only bothered me to the degree that this kind of stuff didn't work.
No, it didn't bother me either, but I know it had to have. Some people are. I use Facebook a lot, but I don't. But I do it just for this kind of stuff.
Well, here's our first picture.
Okay, so actually that's day 2. Can you go back to one more post?
You know
before
what?
that?
I can do that.
We'll look at
that
day
there
1.
Were 2 days.
Yeah, we'll look at day 1 post.
Look at that. It's doing it again. I went back. I didn't want to go back to the beginning of time. I just wanted to go back to the other pictures. Okay, so we're going to scroll down here.
And that one you don't have to, so keep scrolling, because that was day 2. I took a video. Okay, there's day 1.
All right, so we're going to bring up the day 1 pictures, and here we go.
Okay, so that picture is David Watkins. He had, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4. I think just 3. So those 3 fish right there on day 1, and he was leading the way with 11 pounds. David was our angler of the year, and he continued that good fishing trend there on day 1 with 3 fish, and he had the lead after day 1. So and he also had big bass. It was a 4.7 pound. If you go back one picture, it'll show the day 1 results, if it'll let you.
Okay.
So I can't remember. I'm going to turn this screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
So David Watkins with 3 fish and a 4.7. He was big bass on day 1 with the 4.7 pounder, and he was also leading the angler side of the tournament with 11 pounds. And you can see there, I didn't catch a keeper, which was the lowest total was me, 0. But then all the other boaters caught at least 1. Jeremy Fuentes and Mike Hill both caught more than 1, as did David. But you can see the weights were pretty low. 1.4, 11 was good, then 1.5, 5.2, 3.7, 1.4. So, and then down on the non-boater side, which if you scroll down just a little bit, I think you can scroll down, or maybe not.
Well, what it is on the way I have it cropped.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that's got everybody.
Okay.
So 3 out of the 5 did catch a keeper, and Catherine Martinez led the way on day 1 with 3 fish, and her total weight was 4.2 pounds. So there wasn't many fish caught. I had a couple I broke off, and I had a couple that got off. I mean, I saw them, and they were good fish. They were 3 to 5 pounders, and I just lost them, which is I didn't get the hook set. But anyway, I didn't catch a fish on day 1. And so there's David. We saw that one, and he was leading the way with 11 pounds. That's Catherine on the co-angler side, and she caught 3 fish, and that was her catch on day 1. That's Mike Hill. He also caught 3 fish on day 1, and he was sitting in second place after that.
Mike has a mystery hand, just kind of floating
as did Catherine. I don't know if you saw that on Catherine's. She had one too.
Oh yeah, I see it there.
That's to get those fit. You don't have 3 hands. You got to have a mystery hand.
It must
floating.
have been the arm that Aaron was talking about on that joke that he told.
Maybe
about that.
And then there's Jeremy Fuentes, and he had a couple of keepers on day 1.
Okay.
That's Jerry Houghtaling, my dad. He had 1 keeper, and it was a nice fish, day 1.
Okay.
And that is Jed Singletary, and he had one fish. He was a non-boater with one fish on day one.
Okay.
Or a co-angler, and that's Lisa Rutherford. Lisa was our co-angler of the year, our non-boater of the year, and she had a fish on day one. Just one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Mark Willever, one of the anglers, and he had one fish on day one. And he was trying to back out. He said, I don't want a picture, just one fish, terrible. And I said, no, we're going to get a picture. You see he's kind of grinning as he was trying to back away.
Yep.
And that's that mystery hand again, holding the fish up by him. David Rutherford, and he had a keeper on day one. So just, again, a lot of them just one fish. You see a trend here. But David's one of the boaters. And that's Lee Johnson. He also just with one fish on day one. Not a bad fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the
back to the results.
Results from day one. So then the next post is up the way. The next post is actually a video I took on day two. So we don't have to show that, but
okay. And then we'll go back to
here, and you can see the final results there. David Watkins winning it. Lee Johnson made a charge, and we're going to see what he did and how he made that charge. He got close. Mike Hill also had some fish on day two and kind of made a charge. And then Jeremy, Mark, Jerry, David, and myself brought up the tail end of the co-anglers, and then of the anglers. And then the co-anglers, Catherine ended up winning it. She had another three fish on. No, she had. Well, we'll see the picture in a minute. I can't remember if she had two or three.
Okay.
On day two, Jed ended up. Him and Andrew both. Jed Singletary and Andrew Houghtaling actually tied, but Jed had more fish, so they tied for second. So Andrew finishes third. Lisa and then Lex Klein round out the field. David, 4.7 pounder, was the big bass on day one, and then Lee Johnson, and you're going to see there why he made a charge.
Is that
7.7 pounder on day two, and we'll see a picture here in a minute.
Okay. Let's
big, beautiful fish. Okay, so that's Catherine. She did have two. Some good fish there, and she ends up winning the non-boater side on the championship tournament, Catherine Martinez. And there's Lee, and he Lee has a knack here the last 2 or 3 years of always catching some, at least catch one big fish, and that was a nice, really pretty bass, 7.7 pounds. And he had another one too, but he just said, I'm just going to hold this one, and that was fine,
Yeah.
Big fish. He won day. So Lee is our two-time defending champ with big bass the last 2 years. This year with a 9.1 pound black bass as the big one for the year, but then he caught that 7.7 in the tournament and was big bass on day two and ended up finishing second. That's Mike Hill again, and there's that mystery hand again. But so he had three fish, so he made a charge. They just weren't real big ones, but ended up finishing third. And his first picture is funny because Andrew was taking the pictures for me, and I was weighing them and writing down the scores and everything. And then the first picture that Mike took, he had a big, pretty grin. He's smiling. He's just holding two fish. I said, "Oh, wait! We need to get your other fish in there." So I grabbed it, and then he's just got a real solemn look. Not that he looks bad, but
right.
Jed Singletary with his, he had another keeper on Sunday, so he had one each day. He's a non-boater.
Okay.
And then that's Andrew. And he makes a charge from nothing on Saturday. He catches one fish on Sunday, but it's a 3-pounder.
Yeah.
So he ends up tying for second place with his 3-pounder. And there's Mark again. Same thing. He was like, I only caught one. I don't want a picture. And I said, no, come on, Mark. So he took a picture with his fish.
Yeah.
Mark Willever. And then there's my one dink. I made one. I caught one keeper all weekend, which was just terrible. But yep. So there's and it was just 14 inches, weighed a pound. It's about as small as you can get for a keeper if it's a black bass.
You made the cut,
but I did not get blanked.
That's
which
right.
I guess I can say that. Didn't get skunked.
That's right.
So David, congratulations to David Watkins. He wins our championship tournament on the angler side. Catherine Martinez, big congratulations to her for winning the non-boater side.
Very good. So now that concludes the season.
Yep.
And you guys will take a break now and then start talking about what you'd like to do for next year. And
yeah, we'll write our schedule. We'll. I know there's several new members coming on board, and I think maybe a couple of previous members may be signing back up. So I'm looking forward to having a good turnout for 2022. And I've got some ideas on maybe some tournament format changes. I'm going to at least float with the club. And I'm hoping I think I'm going to hand off the tournament director role to someone else. I think I've got somebody to do that. Lee Johnson has been our director for the New Mexico Bass Nation, and he told me he wanted to step down from that. But I've got Mike Hill's going to step up and do that, and then I may also try to get somebody to be the treasurer, because I've been kind of handling that duty as well. It's not hard, but anyway, tournament director and treasurer. And if somebody wants to be the president, I'll step down. If nobody does, then I may stay in that position. But
well, I know the last couple of years have been a challenge because of the COVID restrictions that you really haven't been able to fish in New Mexico. I think you've only had the one tournament.
Yeah, we ended up fishing one tournament this year in conjunction with the New Mexico Bass Nation. We were able to get on. Actually, New Mexico Bass Nation fished 2 New Mexico tournaments, but it was a pain for our guys, for our tournament director, and for us to get New Mexico to give us leeway to do that. So we could have fished maybe a New Mexico tournament if I had gotten on the ball and tried to get a 30-day out permit. But next year we hope to fish some New Mexico lakes. We're in New Mexico, so
yeah. That would be nice, but but there's some nice Texas lakes.
Oh, there's Texas lakes. They're just all a little further away, but we've always traveled anyway. So
yeah. So if folks want to join or learn more about it, obviously they can go to the website or get a hold of you. But you have you've got dues, but that covers all the different things that you need to be prepared for.
Yeah, our dues cover the local dues, which is Pecos Valley Bassmasters, covers the state dues, which is New Mexico Bass Nation, and covers the national dues, which is BASS. So our club dues this year and in previous years have been $90. I don't think we're going to increase them. There's always that possibility if the club decides to do certain things, but $90, and that does get you as a member of all 3, from grassroots all the way to the national level, meaning you can fish any of those tournaments if you want to enter them that are enterable, because BASS obviously has their elite series and has different series that you can't just go fish, but there are other tournaments. So, and it also, as a member of the state and of the national level, you get some other perks, some things out there from sponsors and things like that. So, our club is a current member of New Mexico Bass Nation and plan to stay there.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool that that you get to do that, and you don't necessarily have to have the boat and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can join as a non-boater, and if there's spots available on boats for non-boaters, then you can fish that way.
That's right. And so, again, like Gene said, if anybody's interested, you can get us at pvbm.club. That's our website, or follow us on Facebook. I usually put the message now on our Facebook post, which means if you message, I'll get that through Facebook and I'll respond. And we've had a lot of people do that, and we've also had a lot of people reach out through our club, so our website. Either way, you can do that.
Joby, thank you very much.
Yep.
Glad you made it in. Appreciate it. And, we play Goddard Friday night. You going to be around?
I'm going to be around.